a series that we're going to start doing that we're going to do really just kind of highlighting a culture of care. It's something that we've kind of been on a personal journey here lately over the last several months of just realizing how important truly caring for one another is, and really what that means, and how do we actually live in a culture of care, and how do we get to a place where it's okay to not be okay and need someone to walk alongside you without it being this judgment or this, oh my gosh, they're broken, that you can't be around them, because that's really not biblical. And it's really not something that, as we've been walking through, that the church in general has done really well of just, are we focusing on how real life is, how hard it can be, and how sometimes we need people in our lives to walk us through it. And it may be a professional, it may look a lot of different ways, but it really is important. As we've been starting this journey of Stephen's ministry and really diving deep into how do you truly care for people well, it's really highlighted some stuff in our life as to how we need, as a church here at Life Source, need to do a better job, and how we want to focus on it. So I think this is a series that we're going to do, that we're going to go over the next several weeks to kind of highlight some of the things that we personally have walked through in our lives and where we've needed people to come alongside of us, but also how we can do that for you guys as a community as we begin to roll out the culture of care. So I know you're about to start speaking on the culture of care. So what are you thinking? How does that look for us here?
Well, I think one of the ways in which we start, Caleb, is to do away with this fallacy that people that are Christians don't really understand real life. People that are in ministry don't really understand real life. Somehow we are elevated above the reality that the rest of the world lives in. And I think that is such a false viewpoint, that just because we do what we do doesn't mean we do not deal with the same emotional struggles that other people deal with. Just because we are in the positions that we are in doesn't mean that we have the same issues that other people have. And I think that's what started me thinking about this, as we have been contemplating this sermon series called Culture of Care, is the fact that includes everyone. It is not just those that the stigma of the culture says, well, either you're broken or you're discardable or you are some type of a failure in your life. No, we all live in the same world, and we live in a fallen world, spiritually speaking. So the effects of the fallen nature of the world affect everyone that lives in that world. So getting to the place to where you're willing to acknowledge, hey, you know what, right now at this point in my life, I need someone to walk along with me. And that be okay. To where you're not looked at through a negative lens or looked at as though you're the exception to the rule. But I believe that's more the norm. But we hide it because we have this fear, and I think the enemy convinces us that if somebody really knows who I am, if somebody really knows what I'm going through, then they're not going to love me anymore, or they're not going to want to be around me anymore. And certainly the church would not want me to be a part of them anymore because I don't have it all together. Well, here's a great release for everybody. Nobody has it all together.
No.
And it doesn't matter who it is. And if somebody does tell you they've got it all together, then they're lying, because we all face those same struggles. So that's what's prompted me to come to this place to where we've got to do a better job. But it starts with that understanding that we're all on this journey together. And like you just said a moment ago, it's okay not to be okay. And we can support one another in that process.
Yeah, I think that's so great. I mean, that's the thing, is like, in our weaknesses when Christ is made strong.
Exactly.
And if we can never expose our weakness, how can Christ ever really be seen for what he's doing in all of our lives? Because there's been moments that I know in my life, there's been moments where I've been through some dark stuff. And I know you probably have too. And in those moments, looking back now, I can see how active God was in them. But if I'm never willing to accept the fact that I need help and let that be out, I don't get to celebrate what God did in those moments.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we are really going to dive into here over the next
Yeah.
several weeks of this, is just some personal moments in our life.
Yeah.
And share some of those with you. We want to be vulnerable. We understand that we're leading by example. We're not saying, hey, we're above that, because we're going to change the culture here at Life Source, or do the best we can
Yeah.
to let you know it's okay to be real.
Yeah. And if you're struggling today and you feel as though that you're on the outside looking in and the whole world's falling in and people are judging you and rejecting you, I want you to know God loves you, and He loves you right where you're at. He understands you, and He wants to walk with you. But here's the great news. There's other believers that also want to walk with you. So it's okay for you to be able to let somebody know, hey, I need some help right now. I need somebody to walk through this, and hopefully you'll find encouragement in these sessions together.